Cuckoo. Do not afraid.
Keep an eye out where there's some, there's usually more. Yeah, keep an eye out where there's usually a few, there's usually more. The Kaibab Trail is one of only 2 trails that go all the way to the bottom of the canyon, to the river, cross the river, and go up the other side. The other is known as the Bright Angel Trail. Those are the only 2 trails that do that. Any other trail you're on goes, if you go down that side, you're coming out the same way. The main story I have about the Kaibab Trail is for when my parents got married, they went out to Yaqui Point. You can still drive out there then. Their wedding party, their guests had foldable chairs. They trekked about a third of the way into the canyon to a big plateau called Cedar Ridge. Took turns going into the pit toilet there to change into wedding garb, and they got married down there. Where this recycling bin is, I've seen someone doing a handstand there and keep going. I'm just trying to emphasize it because during your free time in the village, as a commercial vehicle, I cannot park in the village, so I cannot monitor people. Stay away from the edge of the Grand Canyon. If you need more of an influence to stay away from the edge of the Grand Canyon, when you're going through some of the gift shops, you might find a book. It's about this thick. It's called Death in the Grand Canyon. It's a recording of every known fatality to have happened in the canyon's history. They update it every few years. This is one of the Grand Canyon bus system buses. Sear the image of that bus into your brain. Because this brings us to the second thing of things you think I wouldn't have to talk about on a tour, but I've learned I've had to say, which is don't get on a bus. You don't know where they're going. Don't get on a bus. If it looks like that, white and green, don't get on it. There's some gold colored ones too. Do not get on a bus. You don't know where they're going. There's about 7,000 park workers in Grand Canyon National Park. About 5,000 or so of them are transient. They'll transfer to other national parks around the country at various times throughout the year. But about 2,000 or so of them are permanent. They live up here in the village. Because they have that permanent population, they have a lot of amenities for them. They have their own K through 12 system up here, just because a lot of them have kids. They have their own kind of like little mini store up here. It's kind of like a Safeway equivalent. They have their own fire department and even their own mini kind of hospital and clinic up here, just because they have that permanent population that's up here all the time. Because it's a heck of a commute otherwise. The nearest thing you can very graciously call a town is an hour away. We're going to buzz around the village proper when we get there, just so I can show you guys, point out to you guys what's around, what you might have to do, what you might want to spend your time looking at and seeing, doing for your free time. Then I'll let you guys out. When we get out, just hang next to on the sidewalk next to the van for a minute. I'll let you know what's directly around there too, including food, and then you'll be free. If it seems like I'm suddenly going rapid fire on a lot of this, it's just because I'm trying to beat the train. Because as soon as the train gets here and everyone gets off the train, those lunch lines get real long, real quick. So it seems like I'm going, this is over here, this is over here, this is over here. That's why. I just want to get you guys to the front of the line. That's what's coming up next. We have to get into the village proper. Out again for wildlife. They tend to wander through the village starting around midday, going into the afternoon. So keep your eyes peeled as you wander around. You might see something. Oftentimes people do. several lodges up here. SUV is behind it. There's a wooden fence. You'll see a little bit better as we get closer. Back behind that wooden fence, that's a graveyard back there. Can only be laid to rest in that graveyard on the edge of the Grand Canyon by invitation only. Usually people have to be of some significance or note. There's several service members in there. People who spend most of their life working up here at the canyon or most of their life working on the Park Service in general. Various others, but usually have to have some kind of significance or note. And it's by invitation only to be laid to rest at the edge of the Grand Canyon there. Buzz around so I can let you guys know what's here. You can see what's around and we'll go from there. Okay, the train's here. Where are the buses? So people are still milling about. So will be still a little rapid fire, but not as much because they're still kind of getting off the train. But still go kind of quick so you guys can see what's around. But want to get you into places before they show up. But that's the Grand Canyon Railway. It comes up from Williams, Arizona every morning now and goes back every afternoon. It's fun to do once and then you never have to do it again. It's a very dull trip. There's nothing to see all the way up here, and it takes 2 hours at best. Way up where this van is turning, way up on this side of the parking lot on our right, that gray building, that's known as Verkamps. That is Visitor Center Information. It has a museum in there. If you want to spend time with that, or if you have questions, they're very knowledgeable to help you out. This, right next to us, is the Hopi House. This was built by Hopi people and lived in by Hopi people. They helped park workers and miners for a while in the park. I do recommend spend some of your time in there. These days, it functions mostly as gift shop / museum, kind of in that order. Still mostly themed around the Hopi, but they have art pieces from each of the dozen or so tribes that have historically lived in and around the canyon. So it's pretty in there. If you do go in, they have an upper story, so don't miss that if you do go in. This on the right, this is the Eltavar Hotel. This is the only extant hotel on the rim of the Grand Canyon. Everything else up here is a lodge. What's the difference? I don't know. It's the only thing marketed as a hotel. Maybe legal reasons, I don't know. But it is an active hotel. You can stay there. People do. It was built by a guy named Fred Harvey, who was a caterer by trade. He developed catering cars on trains. So that way you could travel and eat at the same time. Revolutionary. And he was known for building hotels in out-of-the-way places, which this was even more of back in the day. Like I said, you can stay there. Only 2 of the rooms in that hotel face the Grand Canyon, though. The Presidential Suite and the tier right below Presidential. None of the others do, and that's by design. Most of the windows in the lodge are in the dining hall. So that way, if you wanted to come downstairs and look at the Grand Canyon, you had to come downstairs and pay for dinner. And all the other things, like I said, are lodges up here of various kinds. Coming up on our left, in just a second here, there'll be these 2 structures. You'll see they kind of look like old barns right up here. The structures look like old barns. used to house your horse. Well, that's how you got up here back in the day. I think the one with the steeple on top of it over there, I think that's where they house the Grand Canyon mules these days. If they're not housed in there, they're housed nearby. We see them over there all the time. Coming over on our right here. This on our right, these pastel doors. This is the Bright Angel Lodge. This is where I'll be dropping you guys off for your free time and picking you up for your free time in this pickup drop-off area. It's going on noon, so 1:30, half past 1 o'clock, 14:30, whatever term you want to use. That's the time to be back here getting in the van so we can make it to Sedona on time. As you get out, just hang on the sidewalk for a second, let you know where more stuff is, including